Good morning. My name is Tracy Lawrence. I'm the hearing officer for San Francisco Public Works. Cerise Waiters is our clerk for today's hearing. It is Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. This hearing is being recorded via Zoom and will be available after through a link located on the San Francisco Public Works website at sfpublicworks.org. Since this is a virtual hearing, there is no sign-in sheet. Therefore, if you would like to receive results of the hearing, please send an email to the address listed on the hearing notice. This public hearing is being held to consider three items. Order number 212365, to consider the removal of one street tree adjacent to 1653 Jones Street with replacement. Staff approved the removal and the public has protested. Hearing order 212385 and hearing 212367. My job as the hearing officer is to gather the facts for the hearing item, listen to your testimonies, and help our Director of Public Works make determinations. I will not be making any decisions today. Instead, I will forward the findings from this hearing and make my recommendations to the director. The director will make the final determinations. When the director's determinations are made, the department will notify you if you have provided your contact information. Before we start, is there anyone here who would like to address an item that is not on the agenda today? Okay, I see a hand. Josh,
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Yeah, I make this comment in all my comments this morning in my individual capacity as a member of the public and not in my capacity as a member of the San Francisco Urban Forestry Council. San Francisco has one of the smallest tree canopies of any major city in the United States. Back in 2014, this was estimated at 13.7%. But based on more recent, this appears to be closer to now just under 13%. Our city is failing our 2014 urban forest plan, which called for 50,000 new trees by 2034. We're failing our 2021 climate action plan, which called for 40,000 new trees by 2040. And we're failing to put into practice the preservation and replacement policies called for in both of these plans. In fact, we have not net gained a single street tree since 2017. It's unconscionable that we continue to remove trees as if we have all the time in the world to replace them. Our 2021 Climate Action Plan called for a policy of tree preservation in infrastructure and development, and it called for this policy by 2023. It's almost 2026, and we're still greenlighting tree removal for infrastructure and development like we're in the 1990s. I get that our new mayor is a big fan of development, but we all need to figure out how to walk and chew gum at the same time. This isn't an either or, we need both. We need to stop thinking so simplistically and start applying some creativity and nuance to how we manage our tree canopy in this city. Because what we do today isn't about what happens next week or next month. It's about 5, 10, 20 years from now and what this city will look like or not. Now is not the time for our city and our leadership to continue doing business as usual. Now is the time to do everything we can to preserve what we have. Preserve trees, plant more trees, work together, partner between city departments in our community. So I would ask that all of this information be considered uh, with any findings and recommendations from today's hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Do we have any more public comments? Yes, Michael.
Hi, my name is Michael Nolte. I just want to make some generic response amounts or comments about street trees. Um, Having a tree nearby can cool down the environment between 10 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit, um, as well as a street tree can get rid of a mature street tree can get rid of over 100 pounds of pollutant per year. And in other words, trees are really important. Since we're a city with not very many trees or not enough trees, it's very important. Unless the tree is dead, dying, or dangerously structured, compromised, um, it just makes more sense and cheaper to save a tree. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Any others for public comment? Dave? Yes, Dave, you're on mute.
Thank you. I just want to thank Joshua and Michael for their comments, and ask, I don't see any of the speakers. Should I be seeing them?
No, it really depends on the speakers and whether they have their cameras on.
Thank you.
Actually, no attendees will be able to be seen until you have been made into a panelist, if you choose to do that when it's time to speak. But right now, speakers will only be able to be heard once I unmute them.
Thank you for that clarification, Cerise. Any more public comment?
I see
Okay.
no other hands at this time.
Thank you. So then we will conclude our public comments. The hearing will proceed as follows. 1, I will ask Public Works staff to speak first and present the case. Then I will allow the applicant to speak, followed by any members of the public or witness who wishes to speak. After the department, if the department would like to address any comments. And last, the applicant, again, if the person has any rebuttals. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes to speak. Our clerk will monitor the time for all speakers and will indicate when the speaker has 30 seconds left to speak. If you would like to use visual materials in your presentation, please let us know before you speak. Then you will have the standard 3 minutes. If you are a member of the public, wait for me to call for public comments, then use Zoom's raise your hand feature. If you are on the computer, put yourself in the queue to speak. If you are dialing in, use *9 and we'll recognize you. If you are on mute, press *A louder. Second bell will signal the time is up. Comments and questions should be addressed to me and not to the department or the applicant. If you cannot finish your comments within the allotted time, you may submit written testimony to me by the end of this hearing. If I feel that a question is warranted, I will ask the question. After all comments are completed, I will close the item. We will now begin the hearing. Brian?
Yes. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Brian. I'm with the San Francisco Department of Public Works, Urban Forestry, and this is for the tree removal hearing for December 3rd, 2025. Before I go into all the cases, I'm just going to do a quick rundown.
Excuse me, Mr. Ong. We can see
Yes.
you, but we cannot see your screen.
Oh, you cannot see my screen. Okay. Can you see it now?
Okay, thank you. Now we can see it.
Okay, so before I head in and go into details of all the cases, I'm just going to give a brief overview of Street Tree SF and our code. All right, so our goal is to ensure safe, clean, and green infrastructure and public right-of-way. BUFF's mission is to preserve and grow the urban forest while balancing the safety and needs of a growing and evolving city. Here is a map of our Street Tree SF. You can see here we have a $19 million annual set aside in the city's general fund for Street Tree SF. And what you see here is just a map of the census that was completed in 2016 that was used to create our priorities and routines for tree pruning in the city. Everything in gray has been completed, and everything in yellow we did in 2022, 2023, and everything in green has either been completed or we are planning on doing that very soon. So a tree ordinance establishes authorization and standards for addressing a wide range of issues regarding trees. San Francisco's urban forestry ordinance is codified under Article 16 of the Public Works Code. So basically you need a removal permit required to remove street trees, significant trees, and landmark trees. Some important updates from February 2022. If the department is removing a tree, a replacement tree is required within 120 days or added and tracked on a delayed replacement tree report. If a tree cannot be planted in situ, then it must be replanted at a nearby location. If a property owner applicant is granted a removal permit for removal of a healthy tree, the department shall require a replacement street tree or equivalent value to the one removed or impose an in lieu fee. So if the owner pays difference between the appraised value of a subject tree minus the value of the replacement tree, the value of the replaced tree is based on the standard in lieu fee for a 24-inch box or installation replacement size. And then so in most cases, a tree removal permit will not be granted if the tree is healthy and structurally sound. Tree removal criteria is dead, dying, not thriving, poor species for location, growth no longer sustainable, damage to private property, tree is hazardous. If the tree is small, less than 4 inches in diameter, and construction requires removal, and the tree that can be replaced in kind. If the tree will be destabilized in construction, there is no feasible workaround. Applicant must provide sufficient supporting documents. If the tree is in good or fair condition, applicant must pay appraised value for loss of tree. So if a removal permit granted, property owners are required to plant a replacement tree and pay the difference between appraised value and the new site based on the in lieu fee structure. If a tree is to be lost and in good condition, appraised value or in lieu fee will be assessed, whichever is greater. Example, tree approved for a new driveway. If a street tree SF removal buff must plant a replacement tree or locate a replacement site and mark as a delayed replacement. If a removal permit is being granted to a property owner for removal of a dead, dying, hazardous street tree, the tree is required to be replaced. If not sufficient space, there is no in lieu fee assessed, and property owner is not required to replace it off-site. So to get to our first order number 212365 for 1653 Jones Street, this has been postponed to a later date, so we will not be hearing this order number at this time. On to our next one, it's order number 212385. This is to consider the removal of 7 street trees with replacement adjacent to the following locations: 77 Howard Street, which is 4 trees, 180 Howard Street, which is 1 tree, 762 Howard Street, 1 tree, and 10 Hawthorne Street, which is 1 tree. This order supersedes Public Works order number 212366. So the staff has approved the removals and the public protested. So basically this removal permit is for the Transbay Howard Streetscape project. The Streetscape project is doing a bunch of work along Howard Street from 4th to the Embarcadero. They're doing all kinds of streetscape, bike lanes, traffic signals, curb ramp repairs, and so they're going to be doing a lot of work from 4th to Embarcadero, and so they're proposing to remove 7 street trees and planning on replacing with 28 street trees along the corridor. And if you need more information, there's a link at the bottom. You can go to sfpublicworks.org/transbay-howard, and you can go to the website for the streetscape. So for the first tree, this is at 77 Howard Street. This is American ash tree. It's in poor condition. The tree is in an underground container along with all the trees at this address, even on the other street side. So basically the Transbay Howard Streetscape project is going through here, and the tree needs to be removed due to construction of the curb ramps. There's going to be a new curb ramp at the corner. So the tree will not survive, and the tree is already declining. So to be consistent with how we deal with similar cases, we have approved this tree for removal. Here's another photo of the tree. You can see they're going to be replacing the whole sidewalk and the curb ramp here. Here is the second tree. This is the tree right next to it. Again, it's an American ash. It is in poor condition. You can kind of see that it is like winter time, so it is losing leaves, but it has been losing its leaves at a rapid rate. I will show a photo of the trees around the corner shortly to show what those look like at the same time. And so the same thing, Transway Howard Streetscape project, and the tree needs to be removed due to the construction of the curb ramps and will not survive the curb ramp construction, and the tree is replaceable. Here's another photo of the tree and another one of the sidewalk surrounding it. Again, all these trees are in below ground containers. Here's the third tree. You can kind of see it's the same as the first two. It is declining. It's in poor condition and will not survive construction. Here's another photo of the tree. And here is another photo of the fourth tree. Again, this one is in poor condition. All the trees, the first four trees here, are in all poor condition. All the other ones next to it and around the corner are doing well and they're healthy. So to be consistent with how to deal with similar cases, we have approved these four trees for removal. Here's another photo of the tree. And then this is taken in May 2025. These are the same trees around the corner on Spear Street. These are all in containers on the left-hand side. And you can kind of see that they are doing much better than the ones on Howard Street, the first four. And then this is 180 Howard Street. This is site 4. This is a Brisbane box. This tree is in good condition. There's no deficiencies. The only thing is that the tree was planted 10 years ago, and you can see that it has not grown to its capacity. And so the tree needs to be removed for a new pedestrian light being installed. So the tree can't be replaced. Because the tree is 10 years old and hasn't really grown significantly over the past 10 years, we approve the tree for removal. Here's another photo. There's going to be a pedestrian streetlight going here. This site is not replaceable. But again, as I said, they're going to be planting 28 trees from 4th to Embarcadero Street. And here is the next tree at 762 Howard Street is a London plane tree. It is in fair condition. The tree guard is girdling the trunk. Here's another photo of the tree guard and it girdling in the trunk. You can see that there's not much that you can remove or do with the tree to make it safe. So to be consistent with how we deal with similar cases, we have approved this tree for removal. And then here is 10 Hawthorne Street. This is site number 1. This is a ficus tree. It is in fair condition. There's competing codominant stems, past branch failures, vehicle damage, and they are doing a curb ramp at this site. So the tree will not survive the root pruning that needs to happen at this site, and the tree is not replaceable. And here's some other photos of the branch failures and repeated vehicle damage. And you can see that there's bricks in here, that the tree is girdling all the bricks. And so we have seen that when we do remove the bricks, the tree will eventually fall over once we remove those bricks. And here's another photo of the ficus tree. And so to be consistent with how to deal with similar cases, we have approved these 7 trees for removal with replacement. That's it for that one.
Okay, are there any, let's see, comments? Dave.
Hi, thank you. couple of comments based on what we've just heard. You know, a number of these trees are being removed because of curb ramps. But like in the first set that you showed, I think you're using the address 77 Howard. You know, one of the trees is 4 trees from the curb, from the corner. I mean, is that really in the way of a curb ramp? Is the third tree, second tree? I'm not sure even the first tree would interfere with a curb ramp. Um, the photo you showed of 762, I think was wrong. Um, I walked to 762 Howard, Howard yesterday, and it's not that tree. Actually, the notice was posted on a Muni pole. So I don't know where the tree is, but there's none that look like the one you showed. Um, almost all these trees, I would say, are significant trees. The first 4 around 77 Howard go up about 4 stories. So that would be about 40 feet high. And um, you know, the claims about them being in poor condition, those same 4 trees were put at risk 10 years ago by the property owner. And we heard all these same arguments that they're about to die, they're dangerous, diseased, whatever, and they scare kids. I don't know. That was 10 years ago. The Board of Appeals didn't buy it then. So there is a precedence, by the way. Um, and obviously the trees have done just fine in the last 10 years. Uh, that's how they look. It's winter. Um, I think they're just fine. Uh, you're, I think you said they can't be replaced, and that's probably true. So that's even more reason to keep the ones that are there. Look, the bottom line, the traffic and bike lanes can be reconfigured relatively frequently.
30 seconds.
You're now implementing the third version of the bike lane here. And our trees, especially the significant trees, should never be sacrificed for what may be short-term traffic configurations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Dave. I actually called for public comments before asking the applicant to speak, and so now I am going to allow the applicant to speak at this time.
Hello, are you asking me to speak and can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, listen, I wanted to say that I thought it is disingenuous of the
Oh, I'm sorry, Glenn. Are you the applicant or
no,
public comment?
actually, I'm not.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. So I'm going to actually have you wait until the applicant has a
That'd
chance
be
to speak.
fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
Be happy to
Trent
wait.
is the applicant.
Okay.
Hey, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay. I do have a presentation if I could share my screen.
Okay. I stopped sharing, so you should be good
Yes,
to go.
just a moment. I'm going to promote you to panelist and then you'll be able to share your screen.
Okay, thank you.
Once you come over, you'll need to unmute yourself again.
Okay. Okay, looks like I'm back on, and I will share my screen now. Let me know when you can see that.
Okay, I can
Yes.
see it.
Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. So I'll speed through some of this. So good morning, everybody. My name is Trent Tiger, project manager at Public Works in the Streetscape Group. I'm here to discuss the tree removal request as part of the Transbay Howard Streetscape project. So Brian gave a great overview of the project, so I'll probably just skim through most of this portion of it, kind of just giving the background on the project. As you can see, this is on Howard Street between 4th and Embarcadero in District 6. And so the project includes a number of improvements, including widened sidewalks, bulb outs, new ADA compliant curb ramps, mid-block crossings, traffic signal improvements, roadway and pedestrian scale lighting, improvements to the OCS and traction power system, roadway repaving and resurfacing. And as Brian noted, we're planting new trees, new plants, irrigation system, and street furniture. And then the biggest change is the new protected bicycle lane on the south side. So for anybody familiar with the space, MTA installed their quick build version of a bike lane on the north side, which is basically soft hit posts and paint. And so this is kind of the next step in that, which is the actually protected by hard infrastructure, concrete islands that will act as both barrier for vehicles as well as loading and parking zones. And so we did try to squeeze in as many trees as we could in some of the islands as well as on the sidewalk, but just kind of working around the many utilities and fire department requirements that limited our options. And so I'll jump into the meat here. As I said, we are requesting the removal of 7 trees in order to construct the project. A few of the trees are proposed to be removed just so that we can install project infrastructure, but as Brian noted, many of the trees are actually being requested from BUFF to be removed just due to the unhealthy or dying nature of the trees. So I believe the trees that I have are in reverse order of Brian. Sorry about that if that causes any confusion. But this was the first one at the corner of 4th and Howard next to the crosswalk. As Brian kind of showed a few different angles of it, the tree is growing into the tree guard. So the overall health of the tree is not great with that. And so this one's right next to it. You can see kind of right at the bottom of the screen here, the image that it's right next to the crosswalk. So I don't believe this one's going to be replaced at its location just due to the proximity
30
to the
seconds.
crosswalk. This was the Hawthorne and Howard location where we're reconstructing the entire corner with ADA compliant curb ramps and new street light. And as Brian noted, the tree won't survive the construction of that. This small tree is not mature, even though it's been there for 10 years. And just working through street lights, we're planning to install a new pedestrian scale street light in this space. All the trees around it are much more mature, and so this one was chosen as the best option.
That is your time.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. Trent, when you talk about once those trees are removed, are you putting in new trees in those exact locations or somewhere in close proximity?
Some of them, as I mentioned, some of them can't be replaced in the exact proximity. So this tree right here in this image, this is roughly the first tree that I showed at the corner of 4th and Howard. You can see that it's right next to or on top of the crosswalk, and just due to city requirements for sightlines and disability access, that we wouldn't be able to plant the tree in that exact location anymore. And then, of course, this is basically the Moscone Center space. There really isn't a whole lot where we could plant trees. So in some locations, we're kind of spreading them down the corridor. All the red dots are the 28 trees that we're planning to plant. And I believe most of them are in roughly the location of the other trees that are being removed. I want to say there was one other tree at this one at the corner of Hawthorne, where instead of kind of in the same location, we're just planting around the corner, but pretty close by.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, if there isn't anything else, I will now take public comments.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I wanted to begin by stating my credentials. I'm a landscape architect, worked in the profession for 40 to 50 years. And I have disagreed with the gentleman that had been presenting this information for you. With so few trees in San Francisco compared to other cities, removing these trees on Howard and elsewhere is unconscionable. The curb ramp is far away from the tree and will not impact the tree. Taking pictures of American ash trees in winter is disingenuous. You need to show these trees to be removed in the summertime. Take pictures in the summertime when they are fully leafed out. The tree girdled by the tree guard on 4th and Howard can be saved by removing the metal. This is an extremely healthy tree. You are removing a tree unnecessarily. And then, lastly, the statement that trees fall over when bricks are removed is ludicrous. Trees are grounded by the roots, not the bricks on top of the ground. Your speaker shows naiveness. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Glenn. Did you want to speak to that? Are there any more public comments, Josh?
Yeah, thanks. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, years ago, I worked with Public Works and BART to have BART give Public Works $50,000 to develop subgrade planters that were removable so that trees could be planted anywhere downtown despite underground interference. And then when they were mature enough, they could be removed and planted elsewhere. Public Works got the money from BART and now has basically abandoned that effort, which I spent months of my life negotiating. So we could have had a solution here, but it would appear that Public Works has just kind of let that go. With regard to Site 4, what I don't understand is the rationale, basically. It sounded like it said, like, it's in good condition, but it hasn't grown, so that's okay to get rid of it. I have to say that's a new one. It's good, but it's not growing fast enough, so that justifies its removal. I appreciate that there are going to be 28 new trees. I have to say, I'm taking it with a little bit of a grain of salt because when we get to the next case, what we're going to hear is that there were 3 trees in that development site that were also planted as part of a city improvement project along 16th Street, and 3 of those are already gone, even though those were just planted within the last 10 years as well. With regard to the girdled trees, I just want to point out that these are city trees. These are on the sidewalks. These are the city's responsibility. So it seems a little disingenuous to say, well, I know we're responsible for these, but look what terrible shape they're in because these metal guards are grown into them. So I guess now we can get rid of them. With regard to the ficus tree, I don't understand why that's not replaceable. The law requires city-initiated tree removals to be replaced. That's just the law. And then just a couple things before I wrap it up here. First of all, the South of Market area has the smallest tree canopy. So the city has like 4% tree canopy, and that needs to be a part of this conversation, and it hasn't been. And next, where is the policy for preservation and infrastructure? Out here, we're talking about new infrastructure, and what I didn't hear today was anything about the conversations regarding any attempts to save the trees that are in decent condition. That's what our climate action plan conversations. And only when we've decided we absolutely cannot save these trees do we talk about
30
replacement.
seconds.
And what the climate action plan calls for in terms of is basal area replacement. We have not heard that today. Maybe it's happened, who knows, but we haven't heard it presented. So based on this, it would seem that the city is continuing to fail to meet its IR tree canopy continues to decline. Thank you.
Trent, do you want to speak again to issue any rebuttals to those 2 before we move on to the next comment? Oh, he's not
Ms.
here.
Lawrence, may I interrupt? I'm not certain if you have it in your comments, but there are supposed to be no rebuttals.
Okay,
And
thank you
if
so
they
much.
have,
I see
yeah,
that. Thank
I
you.
don't know if you have the newest version.
Okay, I see that. Thank you so much. Okay, and so I think it was Dave that I interrupted um, when he was in the process of speaking. Is that correct, Cerise?
I don't remember you interrupting. Let's see. He asked if he can respond. No, I don't think you interrupted and we let him finish. He spoke first and then we went to the applicant. He had his full 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other additional public comments?
Yes, we have John Nolte and Michael Nolte.
Okay. John?
Good morning. It seems to me the SFMTA seems to be spending money, which it doesn't have, on these infrastructure projects that the city does not necessarily need to do, taking away parking, increasing the mess in the South of Market that you've been creating with all these plans with bicycle lanes and multiple different things on Howard and Folsom. And this is just a continuation of the other plans that you've done. And you should have learned your lesson that you can't just keep on taking away bicycle lanes. Where are people going to park? Well, how are people going to get around? And then you want to take out trees that are to me a healthy condition, all of them, as stated by prior people that have expertise. And also taking pictures of them in the wintertime is not a prudent way to snowball the public when they are not when they're losing their leaves, but just should be doing it during the summertime when they have more leaves and look better. And as for girdling, we found I've dealt with a number of trees that have been girdled, and therefore we were able to save those trees. So again, and also bricks. Come on, you really are going low in responding to how do we move trees and say taking out the bricks, the tree is going to fall over, or take out the girdle and it's going to hurt it. Those are ridiculous statements to make. And there are trees like that all over the city that you're just implying to say, oh well, it's got bricks in the plot, so we should take out the tree. That logic is what you're saying. I find that not logical, so therefore, 7 trees should not be removed. 28 trees, sure you can put them in, but let's have a total here of 7 and 28. Make it 35. Fine. Bye.
Thank you so much. Michael?
Hi, my name is Michael Nolte. I'm the executive director of Alliance for a Better District 6. I agree with the comments made by Dave. And the Trans Bay Herald Howard Trans Streetscape project. Again, it's just another project that the city has tried to get. The whole point here is they got money. They want to spend it. The SFMTA has gotten the money, needs to spend it, and therefore the Public Works is just going to oblige. Let's get rid of the 7 trees. We'll come up with some ideas and reasons for each tree why it needs to be removed. Couple questions I have is no trees seem to be going on the cross streets of this corridor where more trees could be planted. Another is when it was mentioned that the trees were in underground containers. Is that going to happen when they were replaced? They're going to be put in underground containers again. And what was the reasoning for the underground containers to begin with? Does that stop the roots from growing? Then another thing is they're talking about proposing 28 trees. So far, I haven't heard what kind of trees will be mentioned in the replacement. So again, obviously the money has been already allocated, and but that has nothing to do with whether or not these trees need to be removed. So that's the real issue here. And thank you for your time, and thank you to everybody else who's given their comments.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Michael. Do we have any additional comments?
I see no other hands at this time.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so we will move forward with the Brian.
Hello, this is Brian with San Francisco Urban Forestry. Let's go to the next case. This is for order number 212367 for 300 DeHaro Street. This is to consider the removal of 7 street trees with replacement adjacent to 300 DeHaro Street. The staff has denied the removal and the applicant has appealed. So here are the site plans for this project. So all the trees that you see over on to the right, those have been illegally removed. And so we have already fined the applicant for the illegal removal of the 3 trees. So at first it was these 4 bottom trees, this 1, 2, 3, 4, and then these 3 trees over on 16th Street. That was the 7 trees, and then this 1 tree at the corner was going to be remained and protected during construction. So now we are talking about the 4 trees over on DeHaro Street, and those all have been denied. So this is the first site. This is a London plane tree. Tree's about 20 to 35 feet high. It's in spread is good. The condition is fair. There's no deficiencies. The tree is healthy and sustainable. DBH is 15 inches, and the inspector has appraised the value at $6,500. This is the second tree. Again, this is a fair conditioned London plane tree. There is no deficiencies. The tree is healthy and sustainable, and the appraised value of this is $2,900. This is the third tree, sorry. Again, the condition is fair, no deficiencies. The tree is healthy and sustainable, and the appraised value is $3,100. And this is the 4th tree. Again, the condition is fair. There's no deficiencies. The tree is healthy and sustainable, and the appraised value is $5,700. And you may have seen there's no tree protection, and we have already fined them for the illegal removal and failure to protect those 4 trees during construction. So here's just like a little rundown of if the mitigation is required. If denial is overruled, the 4 sycamore trees appraised for a combined total of $18,200. The illegally removed ginkgos will be addressed in a later hearing. A fine has already been issued for illegal removal of the 3 street trees and a fine for failure to protect the 5 street trees. 24-inch box trees size are required, and they are valued at $2,590. Therefore, the $18,000 minus the $2,590 for 4 replacements is the $7,840. So 4 24-inch box trees are required plus the $7,840, if that makes sense. Species is to be finalized and approved by urban forestry inspector and plan checker to approximate canopy value of lost tree while still being suitable for site. And this is just the reference to Article 16 Public Works Code. If the department grants a tree removal permit, it shall require that a street tree or trees of equivalent replacement value to one of the removed be planted in the place of the removed tree. So to be consistent with how we deal with similar cases, we have denied the tree removal application. That's it.
Okay, thank you so much, Brian. Is the applicant here?
Can you guys hear me?
We
Hello?
can hear you.
Yes, good morning.
Hi, this is Matt Sasan with Thompson Builders. I'm the general contractor on site and representing DM Development, who is the applicant.
Okay, did you
Uh,
have a presentation to make, or were you just going to give a verbal statement?
I wanted to provide a verbal statement about the project and
Oh,
let everyone know what was going on.
okay, go ahead. You'll have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, this project is a 100% affordable housing project that's going to provide much needed housing to the city of San Francisco. It was a long time in the works, and we provided drawings to the city of San Francisco showing what was going to be removed, and the project plans came back approved. We are replacing trees that we're removing. Um, on 16th Street, we had attempted to install our temp power and permanent power in the street to allow it to keep those trees in place. But SFMTA, another agency in the city, forced that work to happen in the public sidewalk. When PG&E came on site to do the trenching, it disturbed those trees. And so to do the work and to safely complete it, we had to remove those trees. It was a safety condition. We did notify the Department of Urban Forestry late, and I'm sorry for doing that, but it was a safety incident that we had to take care of immediately. These 4 trees down on DeHaro Street, because SFMTA is requiring us to work solely in that area for access to the project, are going to hinder our ability to construct the project. And so we have to remove these trees, which are going to be replaced to construct this 100% affordable housing project. Nobody likes trees more than me. I love trees. I'm a member of the public that gets to enjoy trees. I never want to cut trees down, but I also understand that we have to provide places for people to live, especially places that people that need affordable housing. So that's a personal comment. I like trees. We love trees. We don't ever want to cut them down. That's all I have.
Thanks, Matt. And so how many trees do you plan on replacing or planting in replace of the ones that were removed and the ones that you are requesting to remove?
This is off the top of my head. I believe we're taking down 7 and putting 8 up.
It
Okay.
is 10 trees that they
10.
are planning on planting. Yes.
Okay, 10 trees.
There's
Okay.
4 on 16th Street and then 6 on DeHaro,
Okay.
plus the one that they're keeping. So there'll be 11 trees, but they're planting 10.
Okay. Um, I guess my concern is about you're saying that SFMTA is asking you to perform work in the sidewalk.
SFMTA would not allow us to perform that work in the street. So as
Okay.
part of providing power to the project, we had to trench and install below grade conduit. We had attempted to put that into the street. SFMTA would not allow that street closure to happen, and so they forced us to put it into the sidewalk adjacent to where those trees are.
Okay. Um, okay. I think those are all the questions that I have regarding that. Thank you, Matt. Do we have any public comment? Glenn?
Hi, this is Glenn Rogers, landscape architect calling. I wanted to mention, if the SFMTA has made this poor decision of not allowing the utilities to be in the street, it just shows another example of poor decision making on their part. These trees are extremely healthy, and it would be a crime, I believe, to have them removed just because of short-sighted SFMTA directive. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Glenn. Do we have any other public comments?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, Josh.
Thanks. Yeah, I live just up the hill from this project and I've watched it carefully over the years, specifically to see how it might impact the healthy trees that were around the project site. So, first of all, I don't want to hear about affordable housing. These are basically a couple hundred dorm rooms that are going to house tech workers and people who don't plan to live in the neighborhood on any long-term basis. And even assuming that these developers are not motivated by profit and really motivated out of the kindness of their hearts regarding affordable housing, don't low-income residents deserve mature trees? When I walked by this site a couple days before Thanksgiving, there were several trucks moving in and out of the site between the large trees onto Harrow Street. Big trucks with big heavy materials, so they have access to the site. Also, as Brian mentioned, yes, one tree was removed illegally weeks ago. I reported this to Public Works, and two more trees have been illegally removed since. I guess, is it SFMTA? Is it PG&E? So are we going to bill SFMTA for that? And also, is this developer or this general contractor so incompetent that it didn't sort out all of these issues with the city and PG&E prior to starting construction? Of the remaining trees, they are currently inside the project fencing. When I walked by there on Thanksgiving Day, none of them had tree protection around them as required by law, and several of them had construction materials leaned up against them in violation of tree protection requirements. I got photos of that. And I'd also note that my very first tree appeal back in 2017 was for development at 88 Arkansas, just a few blocks away. This is a corner lot, just like the one at issue here, and that one had 12 trees around it. And I'm happy to report that 11 of them are still standing because they were able to build a brand new building just like this with all 11 trees in place, only one of which was removed for a power conduit from a vault out in the street. We should not be rewarding developers and contractors who are showing such clear, repeated
30
disregard
seconds.
for our trees. These are public assets. They belong to all of us, not this developer, not this contractor. Because of their illegal actions, they've already got clear space on both sides of this project. They basically want to cut it down because it's cheaper. And once again, what I haven't heard is discussion on on how these trees might have been preserved. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Any other public comments?
Good morning.
John?
It's John Nolte speaking. Again, we have three sides to a parcel that's being developed. Well, you don't need all three sides to build on the lot. Therefore, what I'm hearing is they want all three sides to be free of trees so they can do whatever they think they could do and expedite and build the building that they're planning to build. However, that is not the way it should go. And we have multiple hearings on these types of developments that have had multiple sides to a property that is being developed. And have in the past not let them have access to all three sides and taking out all the trees around the property. I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's right. And also hearing that they don't want to put the orange covering on the trees that are during the construction of the site. Again, that's another violation. I've dealt with that on other locations too. And again, this is not appropriate for a developer to come to us and use the word buzzword affordable housing. Not relevant to me. You're developing a lot, and therefore you're choosing to take out everything and graze the whole lot. That's not fit right, and that's not proper. And you're taking out all the natural stuff that was there prior to you developing that lot. And so therefore we're losing the trees because you choose not to do it in a correct manner with your cranes and so forth. And you don't need three sides to develop a lot. So I would adhere to knowing that we have dealt with these types of things before at these hearings, and they has stopped the developer from allowing them to take out all these trees. And I would suggest that we do so here today too. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, John. Any more public comments from anyone who has yet to speak? Michael?
Yes, this is Michael Nolte. I appreciate the developer for letting us know some of the problems they're having with developing the lot, but it just seems that some of these issues should have been worked out before they decided to develop the lot. And now, we're only here about the 4 trees. We're not here about the 3 that have already been removed because that's not on the agenda. We're not here because of it's an affordable site. This is a tree hearing. This is not an affordable housing hearing. That was a different kind of hearing. But obviously, since we're talking about trees, the problem is the trees, whether they stay or go, it affects the whole community. And these are assets of the community, and they're not assets of the developer. So, I mean, they might own the property for the time being. They're probably going to sell the property or rent it out or whatever after it's developed. But they're not going to own it for centuries. So these trees have been around for a number of years, and they should stay for as long as possible, since they're assets of the community. And I'm sure the developer's not owned the land very long. So again, assets of the community should stay assets of the community. Hopefully would like to be made aware of any future hearings on this, about the site, especially about the 3 trees that have been already prematurely removed. And also want to hear at any time if these 4 trees that are being talked about, if they're prematurely removed. Since obviously the developer has already pointed out that they might have problems following code, and maybe their license should be looked at for construction. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Michael. And if we don't have any more public comments, I will allow Michael to continue, Brian to continue with the final case.
There are no more cases.
Oh, no more case. I'm sorry.
Yes, that's it. Yep,
Okay.
that was the last one.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I think that what I will do now is conclude the hearing. And then Michael, I have some questions for you. I'm sorry, not Michael, Brian.
Thank you all for attending our hearing. The hearing officer will make her recommendations to the director, and then the director will make her final decision, and those decisions will be emailed to you. If you think that we do not have your email address, please email us at urbanforestry@sfdpw.org and let us know that you would like to receive the final decisions. Thank you all for joining us today.